Okay, we have John Kennedy here, John, and Aaron, his grandson, who is in 5th class here in the school. Do you know this man? You do, Aaron?
I do.
Who is he?
My granddad.
He's your granddad. What do you call him?
John.
John. You don't call him granddad or grandpapa or anything like that?
No.
No. Are you fond of your granddad?
Yeah.
What do you like about him?
He plays sports with me.
What sports does he play?
Racquetball.
Racquetball. Anything else?
Hurling.
Hurling, does he?
Yeah.
And was he a good hurler in his day himself?
I say he was.
I think his picture is in a plaque outside here on the wall, is it? I think your granddad's picture is out there.
Is it?
Yeah. What do you like most about your granddad?
That he's kind of nearby and he's always there if we need him.
Okay, that's great, Aaron. Okay, thanks a million, Aaron. Okay.
Thanks,
John, what's your full name?
John Kennedy.
John Kennedy, okay. And when were you born, John?
3rd of June 1942.
1942, so your next birthday isn't too far away?
It's not too far away.
Not too far away, okay. Just to look back on your childhood, John, as a child, what kind of games did you play at home and in school?
In school, when we started here, Master Bowler, a Kerryman that was here at that time.
Master Bowler?
Bowler,
okay.
From Kerry.
Right.
And football was the big thing with him.
Right.
And when he left, I was only with him in 3rd class. And after that then Master Sean Baker arrived.
Master Baker arrived.
And Master Baker wasn't really interested in sports much at all, so we were allowed to play any game we liked.
Okay. No.
So hurling was my #1 sport. It would go back in my family to the first All-Ireland.
Are you connected with the first All-Ireland?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that connection, John?
Will Kennedy, my uncle, was part of that team.
Is that the Tubberadora team?
No, it's the Clonoulty.
The Clonoulty team.
That won the very first All-Ireland.
Okay, so he played on the Tipperary team.
He played on the Tipperary team.
Okay, all right. Do you remember the local fairs, John? As a farmer, do you remember the local fairs?
Yes, for a few years I do remember. Cashel was our fair.
Right.
And usually the 26th of March was the day.
26th of March.
The 26th of March. And that was the big day. The Waylands would be taking out and taken to the fair that day.
Do you remember walking cattle to Cashel?
I only walked once.
Right.
After that, Jerry Ryan Conn had a lorry.
Jerry is your neighbour?
Was a neighbour.
Yeah.
And he had a lorry. And we used to have to take him back into the big Hippodrome, and that was the road and ramp.
Okay, the Hippodrome, the cattle on the dome onto the back of the lorry.
And onto the back of the lorry. And where the old cinema and things were in Cashel, it was written up there, and he could back into that, and the cattle came off.
Right. And the shops and the pubs did well in Cashel that day?
Oh, and that day, yeah. Ladies' Well was a very busy place that day.
Okay, okay. What kind of food would you have eaten, John, as a young fella growing up?
All week would have been bacon, potatoes, cabbage, and on the Sunday, usually I would go to Joe Moore's on a Saturday and get some lamb.
And where was Joe Moore's?
In Woods Cross.
It was a butcher?
It was a butcher, pub. It was the old hotel, the old railway hotel in Woods Cross.
Right.
And there was everything there. He had hardware. That was the hardware place as well.
Is there any important history around your home place down in Milltown? Is there any local history?
Well, the local history would be the old mill in Milltown.
Milltown, yes, the town of the mill. Where was the mill?
The mill was on the river, as we call it always, the Carhan. The Clodagh really is the river. As it passes us down, we always knew it as the Carhan.
The Caharan River.
The Carhan
River.
Okay,
right.
And just before it joined the shore, the mill was there.
Okay.
In Milltown.
In whose land is it now?
In Jerry Ryan, in Liam Ryan Conn's.
In Liam Ryan Conn's land. And is there any ruin left? Is there any?
There is, yeah. There is still, the ruin is still there.
Okay. So somewhere along down there, the river Clodagh or the Carhan joins the shore.
Joins the shore.
And is it an obvious? Can you see it? I haven't ever been down there. You can see
you
where
would have to go through the fields. You can't see it. You would have to. I suppose the best way is down through. John Barry's. John Barry's. Okay. There's a lane there running down to where John's uncle lived.
Okay. And
where his father was born, and continue on there to the meetings.
Okay. And what is the state of the mill now?
The mill now, there's nothing left, only part of the old castle.
Okay.
The tray where the water used to run out back into the shore is all closed in. Part of it went through Ivan Maher's, now John Maher's,
Yes.
and on through Liam's, and back into the Carhain again.
And how long is that mill gone?
Oh, that mill is gone since, I would say, sometime around the famine or just after it.
Right.
There was a lot of old huts, clay huts in Milltown at that stage. My father often pointed out to me where they were.
Okay.
And even up at Milltown Bridge, there was a couple there at the time.
Right.
People working in the mill. It was very thickly populated back in the early 1800s.
Okay. And suffered then because of the famine.
And suffered then because of the famine.
And John, I have to ask you about your involvement in GAA. You spoke about your Uncle Will there a while ago. You are a man that when I came here back in '89 was very much involved, and to this day is involved in the GAA in various ways. You were a referee, you trained teams.
Yeah, my involvement started in my first games, I suppose, were in '52 when I played underage here with Clonoulty. My cousin, he'd be a second cousin of mine, Jim Hennessy, lived beside us, would have been very involved, and Dick Purcell. Dick, the lot of mercy in both of them. Dick was on the railway.
Right.
And he was very involved at juvenile here. And I suppose a counterpart, he was always in and out to our place, and he would have me hurling or. So it started with that.
Right.
And it went on.
So you played underage for Clonoulty?
For Clonoulty, under 50. I was only under 15 at that stage, and then you went straight to minor.
Right. And was it the green and gold then as well?
The green and gold then.
And was it Clonoulty Rossmore or just Clonoulty?
It was Clonoulty Rossmore for a good few years, and in '55 the club split.
Okay.
But juveniles still continued together.
Hurling together.
And we came back together again in '68
Okay.
and formed the under-21 team. And from that,
But things have grown.
again.
And just going back to the split, was it an acrimonious split that time?
It wasn't. I wouldn't be able to tell you all the,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
facts and things on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. And did Clonoulty Rossmore play in the meet for a while? Was Tipperary divided up differently?
It was the mid. The West was only formed in 1932 or something that way. Yeah, they have won the mid. My father was on a team that won the mid in 1930.
1930, my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you play for Tip later on as a young lad?
Minor.
Did you?
In 1960.
1960. How far did you get in the championship?
We were beaten in the All Ireland.
Beaten it by?
1960 by Kilkenny.
Kilkenny. Do you remember any names or?
Oh, sure. I suppose one man you would know well is John Dunham, who played in the goals.
John Dunham, the goalie from West Tipperary.
Yeah, from inside in Tipperary town.
Yeah.
John Cummins from Anacarty.
Yes.
Involved in the co-op.
Yes.
Michael Ryan Golden, Dan Neal, his father Dan now, he's out from Carlow Heights.
Right.
There was a McGovern chap, can't think of his first name, from Cashel.
Okay.
Myself, and
any of the more legendary Tipperary from the meet? Babs was on it.
Babs was on that team.
Yes.
John that went on to play county. Well, Father Christie inside Cashel.
Yes.
Yeah, and Father Billy Green.
Billy Green,
from Green. They were three from Tipperary town that was on that minor team.
Okay. And beaten by much in the final?
We were beaten by, I think, 6 points. We were beaten in the final.
Could you have won it?
I often think we could have. Some of the big names didn't play as good as they should have on the day, but...
Where were you playing? What were you forward?
Cornerback.
Cornerback. Okay.
Father Christie full.
Father Christie was full.
Yeah.
He was a hard man. He was a hard man to say.
He was indeed.
He has a legend.
Yes.
Okay. He has a legend. Okay. Local traditions or history. Have you any stories of pishogues or fairy stories that you would have heard of back along, John, that might be worth recording?
I suppose the big story kind of was always at Easter. The Easter water would have to be spread. My mother especially, my father wasn't big into pishoguery at all.
Right.
Like something like myself, never really believed it, but the mother, yes.
Okay.
The Easter water always have to be spread round, especially on May Day.
Yeah.
You'd be out May evening.
In the four corners of the farm, isn't it?
And every place would be done, all the houses, everything.
To ward off evil, was it, John?
To ward off evil, yeah.
Right.
There was old stories about eggs being placed in hills and everything. I never saw it, never
You never came across it?
Never came across it.
Yeah, other people we've recorded here spoke about eggs being left in their gardens and in piles of beet and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you
never saw it, but heard about it.
Yeah, okay. And John, you have a connection with the baptismal font in Knockavilla. Will you tell us about that?
I will, yeah. My uncle Martin was involved in the troubles he was only 19 years of age. In 1921,
he was Martin Purcell?
He was Martin Purcell, my mother's brother.
Right.
And it was in early June. They were coming back from a night out, and they were just approaching Gould's Cross, the old Cashel Railway. And the teacher in Balloch saw the lorry of tens coming as he went to teach in Balloch, and he turned around and he warned them. And they thought they had cover enough that they wouldn't be seen, and one of them apparently ran across the Cashel railway line, so they all had to move at that stage.
Okay, so they were found out.
And they were found out, and my Martin's cousin, he'd be a first cousin of Martin's, got shot. He was Martin Ryan's sonny, got shot and wounded, and Martin stayed with him, and the two of them were arrested. And he was taken to Tipperary. The other man, Martin Ryan, was taken to hospital and survived. He was fine after. But Martin was taken to Tipperary, and apparently there was a good few prisoners in there at the time.
Okay.
And 3 days later, the story I have been told is that they opened the gate and they let them try to escape, and they were shot in the back.
Shot in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the baptismal font in Knockavilla is there's a plaque on it to his memory.
Okay. Okay. What's it like how was that story told to you, or what was it like to hear that story from your man? And you know,
it's still what would you say?
I feel
emotional.
Yeah,
I feel emotional about it, and maybe it comes in my voice.
Yes, it does come across. Yeah, it does come across.
Yeah, I still feel emotional.
Yeah. And would
your things happen? Yes.
Yeah. Would your mum, obviously she'd been very upset with
they were very upset
story
at the time. Yeah,
right.
And then shortly after that, they were looking for my uncle John, and the house was burned down in the home place.
And where's that in
John Kennedy?
Okay, so that was burnt down.
That was burned down.
So the persons were involved in it at the time. Okay. What do you remember very well, fondly?
Fondly, what I remember very well was my GA days. Growing up in Clonoulty, when Father Cooney arrived here, I was left school. I remember we were choosing potatoes, and he just arrived in, and Father Cooney, once he wanted you just hopped and leapt.
He had the authority.
He had the authority. And he said to my father, I need him to mix plaster. It was the first dressing room that was built in the GA field.
You need you to mix plaster?
And he needed me to mix plaster.
Okay.
And I had to,
go.
And go.
Right.
I suppose my next thing then would be the All-Ireland, playing in it. Then back in '65, winning a Dublin county final. We were in Dublin for a few years, won a Dublin county final.
With what club?
With Young Ireland's.
Young Ireland's, right?
Ireland's.
Yeah. Any notable people on that team?
The notable people was Larry Kiley from the county, as we used to call him, old Bill Welsh from Kilkenny, had played with Kilkenny and captained them. The local people that time, Brian Dwyer Cooper, when I went to Dublin, and so Brian was there in the bank, and he was on to me straight away to join Young Ireland's. Tommy Dwyer, Rossmore then played on that team as well.
Were Young Ireland's a club in Dublin that Tipperary people would have gone to? Was there a link?
Mostly people that worked in the dairies, Johnson Mooney's, the girls. There was a good few girls on that team, very involved.
Okay.
Then my highlights after that, I suppose, would be the club winning the county final in '89.
Yes.
I suppose the first one would be in '77 when we won the first under 14.
Yes.
Jerry being part of it.
Jerry, your son.
My son being part of the county final, winning that under 14 county final. They to go on and win minor in '81, and then seeing John Kennedy captain the minors in '82.
Yes.
After that, in '89, yes, I was treasurer in '89 when they won the county final. Huge. Yeah, huge celebrations.
I remember it well. Yeah.
'97, I was chairman for my second stint as chairman when they won the county final.
Yeah.
The under 16 with Declan and Noel, my son Noel and John playing on that in '84, the under 16 county final.
Right.
And then I suppose last year my grandson winning his 14 county final.
Yes. So the next generation are coming again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Coming in, so they would be my highlights.
And we see it here, John, how proud you are of Aaron and Dylan and coming up here to the matches, even to see them, to encourage them, and the great pride you take in seeing them hurling well or not, even when they.
And criticising being a critic of when they don't, and that would be. Okay,
any times that were difficult in your lives, any hard times, or.
Well, I suppose as we grew up, kind of things were very, very tough on small farm. It was 30 acres, the home place at that stage, and you were out in the morning, you had jobs to do before you went to school, milk cows, the pigs to be fed.
But hard work.
It was hard work, but we grew up with that, and just that was our life, and going on to do that. I suppose part of my highlight of farming was in 85 and 86 being dairy farmer with Tipperary Co-op and going on to the All-Ireland.
Oh, you wanna,
that was part of
pride in your farming.
Yeah.
John, as far as I can see, you take pride in everything local, and everything that you've been involved in has benefited from your being involved in it, and we can see the regard that Aaron and Dylan have for you here, and it's well deserved by the sound of it. I want to thank you very much for doing this interview. Before we finish up, is there anything else you'd like to say? Is there anything else about on this recording that you'd like to put so that we will have it?
No, just growing up here, and even I suppose being involved, never took part in the plays here, but was involved in the background back in the early 50s and late 50s here, and remembering Michael Cleese and Mrs. Carney across the road, and all them in plays, Stanley Ryan. It was absolutely brilliant to be part of all that and the fun we had. Helping out, kind of, and doing doors or anything we were asked to do. That was always part of me, and even to today, I love to help out anyone I can.
And you obliged us by doing this.
Oh,
John,
welcome.
thank you very much.
Thank you.